We are now at Israeli Museum, and the archaeological part, which is huge. Sadly, I do have only half an hour to show you one part, and I decided to talk about Second Temple time, Jews, and Jesus is a part of them as well. But I cannot shout here. Then don't ask me why it's like that, because I don't know if it's okay to disturb the people here. But let's go in, and if he will tell me not to talk, then I will stop that video. The first thing that we can actually see here is Herodium. Herodium is where King Herod built himself a fortress, and that was part of the theater that he built himself. In the Jewish temple in Jerusalem, we try not to add anything with figures because of the second command said you should have no figures. But here in his palace, he could do that. But the most important object here is his tomb. Herodium, it's a must. If you are in Israel, don't say no to Herodium unless it's going to be in the middle of August and it's hot. Then it's a beautiful fortress that he built to his mother. And then he destroyed and built himself kind of a mausoleum. It took us here to find this tomb because we actually were sure that it's on top of it, but we found it in that area. The tomb was smashed into small pieces, mainly because people hate him, Jews, Christians, and even Romans. That's how the mausoleum looks like. What you find here is part of the top, part of the nefesh, and he was Nabatin, Edomi, Jew, whatever, Roman citizen. Then he actually mixed everything in his tomb. This is kind of a vase that used to put the hash of the dead man in it through the Nabatim religion customs. Then this is a kind of a symbol of it. The lower one is more like Greek, the middle one is Greek, the lower one is more like a Roman, but you can see part of his tomb right here in front of you. To the left, again, we're going back to the palace, obviously in Herodium. You can see his Roman bath that he built himself. But again, colors from 2000 years ago. With a little bit of help, as I believe. Oh, you can see the model of the tomb right here. In that area, in the upper city, that's where the rich Jews lived in Jerusalem at the time of Jesus, at the time of the Second Temple time. And you can see the beautiful tools that had. A lot of them were important. But the most important thing is the stone vases. Stone will ever stay pure, even if a pork will touch it. If it will be made of clay, they will have to throw it away. Then you can see a lot of tools made of soft limestone. Sarcophagus, ossuary. Soon we'll talk about how the Jews used to be being buried, and that's how Jesus was buried as well. But you can see here an ossuary. After he died, a few years later, they collect his bones and put it in a small box. Why it's important for us? Because here you can find the inscription that said Caiaphas, the high priest. And you know that that is the high priest at the time of Jesus. Jesus actually, when he was captured at Garden of Gethsemane, he came to the house of Caiaphas. Another important stone, another evidence for Christianity, was found in Caesarea. But what you can see here is the inscription of, it was made by Pontius Pilate, and even his name is here. You cannot touch it. Pilate. Amazing, isn't it? In Caesarea, when you will visit, you will see a few like that, but all of them are replicas. This is the original evidence for Caiaphas. And if we're talking about that, another evidence of this was found in Herodium, and that's where we found his ring. That part is very important, because in all over history we didn't find any evidence for crucifixion all over the Roman Empire, not only here. And in this ossuaries we found one of the bones. You can see that the ossuary is not so important or beautiful or decorated like the high priest one. And we're talking about a simple person, and we know his name, Yochanan ben Changol. You can see it here, Yochanan, John, the son of Changol. And what we find here is in his bone an evidence for the crucifixion. This is the crucifixion nail. Amazing, isn't it? According to what we know through that nail, that one was crucified like that. They nail him to both sides of the wood. We found it in Jerusalem. Then the only crucifixion nail evidence is here in that museum. In the ossuaries, we found a lot of them with the names of the people. But let me talk about what's actually happened. When someone, a Jew, will die, they will bury him at the same day. They will purify his body, and they will put a shroud around him, just like they did to Jesus. And then they will bury them at the coffin, in those niches. They will seal it. A few years later, when they will have to bury someone else and there was no more room, they will open one of the kochim, they will take the bones out, they will put it in the ossuaries like that, and they will bury him. They used to mark the names of it, that they will know who is buried there. And for example, here you can see the name of Yehuda, Judah, Bar, the son of Yeshua, which is the name of Jesus. Yehuda, Bar, Yeshua. Amazing, isn't it? And the good thing is that I can read it. And here, they did it again. But this time, his name was Yeshua, son of Joseph. I started to read his name here, but there was no more space, Yeshua. And here, Yeshua, Bar Yosef. Then the word Yeshua, it actually comes from Yehoshua, Joshua, but it's difficult to pronounce, and then the short, like a nickname, was Yeshua or Yeshua. Then you can call Jesus Yeshua or Yeshua, it's the same. And that is an ossuary of a child. There you can see me. And if we're talking about sarcophagus, beautiful and for rich men. Found it in Mans Kappas, which is part of wonderful life for me. And more options of tombs, also sarcophagus. It's not the end. I want to show you a few more objects. Here, for example, you can see again limestone tools that used by the Jews, and maybe the water that was turned into wine, according to the book of John, was in those kind of vessels. John 2:6, they say for Jewish rites of purification. Here it is. And again, remember, it's made of limestone, and it will be always purified. Even if blood of pig will actually fall into that vase. I think the earliest inscription for the word Yerushalayim, like the Israelis actually mentioned, and not like the Bible, Shalem, Yerushalayim, it was found very close to the Central Bus Station not long time ago, and that is from the 1st century BC. And you can see here Hananiah bar Dodlos from Jerusalem, me Yerushalayim. And the lower word here is Yerushalayim. And it's so nice that I can still read it. And if you're talking about the temple itself, I just took a video of the old city, the city from the time of Jesus, through the model that we do have here in the amazing museum. Then we found some evidence for the existence of it. The first one to say, no foreigner shall enter, in Greek, because it was made for foreigners. This is the Holy of the Holy for the of the temple. That's where the high priest entered once a year in Yom Kippur. Non-Jews, foreigners, can enter until there. See that fence? That's where we found the inscription. If you will cross that fence, you can be killed legally. This is, I think, the only option the Jews could allow kill foreigners or a person. Jesus was never killed by the Jews. They have no force to do that. The only one who could do that were the Romans. Here, a place of trumpeting, when on Saturday, which is Friday evening, we had to tell the people that Saturday enters now. This is a difficult thing because we had at that time no internet. Then someone used to stand there and he used a trumpet, and everyone knew when Shabbat enters and when Shabbat ends. And you can see here the original stone, Lebet Hatkiya Yahaleh, the place of the trumpeting, where it was, right there. I talked about it at the movie about Davidson Center. You can see Robinson Arch. Another important thing that we found at the Jewish quarter is the menorah. And that's thanks to the Jordanians who conquered the city in 1948 and destroyed the Jewish quarter. And when we came back in 1967, we excavate and we find so many evidence. This is the menorah. Now, why that menorah is so important? Because the one who did it, it was kind of a graffiti on one of the walls. It's now located at beneath the Jewish quarter. It's called the Herodium quarter, and it's important because he saw it. Then if he saw the menorah, he knew exactly how it looks like. And we have so many articles about the menorah and the shape of the menorah. To the right of it, you can see another important thing, and this is the showbread table, which is part of it. And The priest used to go there, and one of them was Zechariah, the father of the future father of John the Baptist, and then the angel Gabriel came to him. Amazing, isn't it? While he was using the incense. You know the rosary now, and you know that it's not of a very important Jew, but what is written here is very important. It's actually Simon, Bana Aichal, the one who built the temple. King Herod used around 10,000 people to build a temple, and one of them was Shimon, Bana Aichal, Simon, very important name. I think you already know that we had a lot of Simons in the Bible. And half a shekel. A Jew used to donate half a shekel when he came to the temple. The only problem is that shekel, alright, now I can see it better, is with the figure of Hercules, which is not a Jewish god, and the Jews cannot use it. Then inside the temple or outside the temple, you could exchange money from half a shekel to Jewish coins. Amazing, isn't it? There are so many things to see in that museum, but I don't have a lot of time. Then I'm just going out, and in a way we are going out in history, going back in history as well. Oh no, let me take you to see who destroyed Israel at the 2nd century and what's happened because of it. Before that, Masada. This is the 3 palaces that King Herod built at the north side, and we find there's so many things. Let's start with the hair of a child or woman and a comb next to it, sandals, and that belongs to one of the Roman that is armor scales of a Roman soldier, and coins from 67 until 70, until the destruction of the temple by Vespasianus and his father and his son Titus. Rolling stones, ceiling stones, and ballistic stones. That's how the Romans tried to enter with that, and that's the rolling stone that they just try by that to stop the Jews from entering into it. Let's stop next to Hadrian's statue. We found it at the north of Israel, northeast of Israel, in Bet Shean, which is an important place because King Saul was killed by the Philistines, and they hanged his body there. Hadrian came to here at around 132 until 35, and he came to here after or before, it all depends who you ask, the second revolt of Bar Kokhba. I believe it was after, and he, because of it, he changed the name of Jerusalem to Aliyah Capitolina by his feminine name, and he changed the name of Israel into Palestine. From the 2nd century, Palestine was Israel. I mean, Israel was always Israel, but another name of Israel was Palestine. Look at the beautiful mosaic floor. And that's how people, rich people actually, ate. It was kind of a carpet, and people used to sit on the carpet, on the mosaic floor. No tables. Then when I'm entering to the room, the Last Supper, people ask me about the tables. No tables. A lot of Roman figures that we find here in Israel, but I'm entering until they will kick me out from of here to more Christian, Samaritans, and Jewish evidence that we found from that time, and a little bit later than that. That is part of the Chorazin synagogue that was at the Sea of Galilee, and Jesus cursed that place. He said that he didn't listen to me, that's it, we're going to destroy it. What you see here is a basalt stone from 4th to 6th century. It's part of the synagogue. Look how beautiful it is. It looks like the temple. This is another synagogue from Bet Shean. Remember Bet Shean, the place that King Saul actually been buried. And this is from the 5th and until the 7th, between the 5th and the 7th century. Then you can understand that now there was a huge battle between Christianity and Judaism. You can see the temple, the Eichal, the Holy of the Holy, the entrance with the menorah on both sides, the hall, and the tools of the temple. But if we go to here, another synagogue, and that is in Susia, which later on you will see that the Christians used almost the same thing. This is made of marble. And if you're talking about the church, let's go to the church. See, the same idea. This is the altar. Oh, wow, that's a light. Here in that box, they used to keep holy things from the past. It can be part of the cross, bone of a holy man, relic. And look at the floor. You can see that there is a cross on the floor, and that was okay until the 5th century. As I believe, they took those things from different places and placed it in one place that show you how it actually used to look like. You can automatically understand that we are talking about Christians here. You can see the whole aura around him. And that will be found in Caesarea. You can see 3 men, and you can see their worship now. The end of the name is usually with a cross. Caesarea was a capital that King Herod built, and later on the Romans used it. Pontius Pilate Palace was there, and later on it became to be the capital of the Christians in the Byzantine time. Jerusalem became a capital later on, and there are so many souvenirs that people buy now, but as you can understand, they bought it there as well. Here, for example, you can see the fleet to Egypt. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, you can see it. the Ascension of Mary, or to Mary, the crucifixion, resurrection, and a relic box. That's how it used to be look like. There's always a hole at the top that you will actually, let's say, take a veil or something like that and put it in and then bless yourself with it. Let's say oil. See the cross on top of it. And of course crosses. Sentences from the Bible, from the New Testament. Amazing. We talk about pilgrims. Oh, do you want to be Baptist again? Here it is. Let me see what we can see more in that beautiful place. You can understand I can be here for like hundreds of hours, like a few days. We are entering into the Islam time, and this is not the video about it, and we will say goodbye now and we'll continue later on. If you like that video, then subscribe my channel and be part of my friend, and in the description you'll find ways to get a Samaritan. Again, another Torah. You will find links how to reach me, and if you reach that place, please send me a message via YouTube and tell me that you watched it. It makes me happy because there are no tourists in Israel, and I'm not working at all for actually more than 1.5 years. It's sad, isn't it? But it gave me a little bit time for myself, and I love what I'm doing. As you can understand, there are a million things to see, and we will talk about it in the next video. Then, thank you very much. One more thing. If you want to support me a little bit, I want to keep on working with it. I want you to see more of Israel. I know that a lot of you cannot reach Israel. Then buy me a coffee. The link is in the description. And by donating a little bit of your love, I will be happy. I will be able to work. And by that, you can ask me to pray for you at the church, at the synagogue, at the Western Wall, to light a candle for you. You actually can do that without buying me a coffee, but if you can, I will be more than happy. Thank you very much for watching that amazing video.